Good morning. It's Sunday morning. It's 9 o'clock. And here I am, Norma Cowie, once more with a Sunday thought. Today I'm going to talk about habits. Habits can be a positive, they can be a negative. And this came out of a client that I had, and we started ending up talking about habits. And I thought sometimes we forget that we actually have these things called habits. We think, we feel habitually often. We react in a certain way and often built up over years. But do we ever think if this habit is actually productive? We do a lot of things without really thinking about it, without contemplating it. So there's a couple of things I really want to bring attention to. One is we are thinking all the time. Thoughts are moving around in our mind, and a lot of them we're not even aware of, but they actually create your vibrational rate, the rate that you're living on. The I have to laugh at that. The vibrational rate is what brings the things back into your life. So basically, you are creating all the time, but mostly what we do is react the same old way. We don't really make a change. So what happens when we have a thought that we're conscious of that's not what we want to have? We don't want to present that. We don't want to be that or whatever. And what I found worked and has worked for me for many years and for my clients for many years was this. When you have a thought that does not fit with how you want to be, you freeze the thought in space and time. You evaporate the thought, basically see it dissolve. And then you must, and this is the key that a lot of people miss, you replace the thought with what it is that you want. So it's freeze, evaporate, replace. And sometimes you have to do that several times because habits have a tendency to build up and they're habitual, right? So when we have that, we evaporate it, we replace it. And so, and then there's a big, what would you say, a lecture I do on this. And it explains how this works with the subconscious and how every time you do that, anyway, it changes the thinking pattern and it makes it work. And so maybe one day I'll have a blackboard or something, a whiteboard behind me, and I can show you how that actually works. That would be probably on a Wednesday. But anyway, so the other thing is feelings. We have feelings all the time. Some people don't always acknowledge them or are aware of them, or they can't name them. One of the things that I talk a lot about is that the feelings that come up is your body talking to you. It's saying, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm hungry, I'm this, I'm that. And so it's like an awareness thing. But they also can be changed. Usually what we do with feelings is we ask kind of, what is it? Name it. And I have found that when I name my feelings, the body feels heard. And when the body feels heard, it relaxes. Now, sometimes the feeling will keep repeating because it's already in its own little pattern of coming on up. But it's like when we go, oh yeah, I'm feeling sad, or I'm feeling this, or I'm feeling that, you'll find that your body actually relaxes. And it's like, oh, they heard me. I was going to say she heard me. That's because I'm a she, but you're a he. The same thing applies. Now, so all of that becomes very, very, very important. If you're wanting to have your life shift in the vibrational rate, number one, but also that you feel happier or more aware or more in touch with yourself. So let's talk about the feelings that really affect us. And those are the ones we usually don't want to think about because we have positive habits and we have negative habits. If we want to think in positive or negative, but we want some enhance the life and some don't enhance the life. But the one thing I found very often is that and this is from working with lots of different people, is there's two main feelings that can really bring us into despair, and that is guilt and regret. They are the two things, if when you're ready to leave your body, that you want to make sure there's not too much of that around. Because very often when you're in transition into another element, which I kind of spoke about on my Wednesday talk, but it's like coming to terms with your guilt. And that the one thing that deals both with regret and guilt is self-forgiveness. How I do self-forgiveness is connecting with what I call the love source, or if you believe this, if you have a name for God, or you have Allah, or you have whoever your deity is that you touch into the feeling of universal love. And whatever gets you there, gets you there. And then when you feel that feeling of being part of that larger power, you forgive yourself for. Just don't say you can say I forgive myself, but you got to sometimes clarify it, because your subconscious has to know what you're talking about. You say I'll forgive myself, it'll go fine. Yeah, that's good. Now what for? So it's like knowing that whatever it is. Now, you might think guilt and regret are the same things, but they're not. They're two different categories. Very often we'll regret words, or we'll regret behavior. We'll regret things that we forgot to do, or whatever. And so we have that regret hanging around. And it leads very often, builds up to guilt. And so we feel guilty about what we've done, what we have, what we didn't do, what we shouldn't do. Now, I sometimes tell people, and this is the truth, for 6 months, not many years ago, every night when I went to bed, I would say, I forgive myself for anything I have done throughout all my lives, or all time, because I wanted to get myself clear. And it worked quite well, actually. And then finally, something I was really working with forgiveness. I had to really sit down and put it to rest. But it's like, that's because I know the bigger picture, and I wanted to make sure of that. But to just say the words, you need the emotion, and you need the love to be able to dissipate. And we're humans, so we tend to have all sorts of little nicks and crannies where things are kept, and all sorts of things. Now, this morning when I was waiting, because see, on Monday nights, I always use I'll just show you that if you don't ever see a Monday night, see this little box here. This is the lid of the box called the God box, Insight Cards. Now, and I usually pick up one before we begin, but I was just waiting to go online here. And I thought, oh, let's have a look. And I just love this one. When I am willing to see things differently, things become different for me. And it always has another side. And so the other side says, you're not in touch with reality if you don't believe in miracles. And that, to a degree, is, to me, I found it was true too. But we're talking about how we look back on our lives, or even 5 minutes ago, and we do something and we feel regretful, or we feel guilty about. And the key is, we don't want to not let that go past, like take that in and become part of us. Because what happens is that we have a thought that we keep having that we don't want to, or if we have a feeling that keeps coming up, what we're doing is consistently rewiring into the subconscious that which we don't really want. Can you think about that for a minute? You may have done all your work, and all it takes is one thing to spark something. You have a thought, and the next thing, you have rewired all that you cleared up. We are rewired people in a way. So we become aware not only of our thinking, but our feelings. So just to go over that for a minute. Thoughts we can clear by we freeze them in time and space, we evaporate them, and we replace them with something that's more effective to what you're wanting, with whatever that may be. So you're changing the fiber of your thinking pattern, because the subconscious knows. And so the subconscious will begin to adjust to that. But thoughts are not just one thought. It repeats. So you need to do that like quite a bit of times, actually. Feelings come up. That's your body talking to you and saying, this is how I feel about this. So sometimes we just have to breathe that in, and sometimes we have to release that. And so we just need to understand how all that comes together. But I have found that when I address feelings that I have to myself directly, the body breathes better, relaxes more, and says, she understands, she heard me. And you'll find that your body will relax with that. So these are decisions that each one of us makes from time to time. We make, is this something that we want to be? Do we want to feel this way? Do we want to think this way? How is it? So it's like we have lots of opportunity. We have a lifetime of correcting thoughts we don't want, understanding feelings that we have. But mostly from what I wanted to do, there was the habits of feeling guilty and regret and not dealing with it. Because if you don't deal with it while you're alive, it's going to come back when you make your transition. And we all are making transitions at some point of time and space. When you're younger, you don't tend to think of things like that, but it's true. It doesn't matter what your age is. You don't want to be stuck in the cycle of guilt and regret. Those are the killers. They really are. They can affect your physical body quite a bit, and we don't necessarily want that. So that's my Sunday thought today. Become clear on your thinking, become clear of your feelings, so that you're more in touch with what's happening with your body, in your mind, and your subconscious can become more and more clear. So you're more open to the gentle feelings that are out there that support you, that love you, that care about you. So you have a good Sunday. I just want to welcome Yvonne. And also thank everybody that subscribed lately and that have written comments and anything else that you've done. I appreciate it. I'll see you on Wednesday at 9:00 in the morning for Norma Talks. And then again on Monday. Oh, actually, no, I jumped a day. Sorry. Somehow I always think I go from Sunday to Wednesday. But I'll see you tomorrow night for mental mind treatments. And that's when you can ask all the questions that you would like answers to. So thanks for listening. Have a great day. Enjoy. Bye now.